Welcome back, writers. No matter where you are today, we have something that's going to help you. In fact, whether you've just finished a first draft of your story that you've chosen to write about for the rest of our time, or if you haven't even started a draft yet, today's work with leads will help you get all the way to where your story needs to go. Let's check it out. So what we need to understand about leads and writing them is that we should actually try out multiple leads. We need to find different ways we could start our story, like trying on a jacket at the store, although, I don't know. Do people still do that, or do you just order it on Amazon? Regardless, I think you understand. We're going to try out different leads today. And the place that we should look to see what exactly our lead should accomplish is Everything Will Be Okay, our mentor text. Let's look at that right now. The kitten is a scrawny thing with burrs and bits of wood caught in its hair where it still has hair, and pus coming out its eyes and nose. Its big baby head looks even bigger at the end of such a stick of a body. I found it in the woods at the end of my street where I play most days with my friends. This time I was alone. Lucky for you I was, I think to the kitten. Otherwise, David or Claude might have decided you'd be good practice for their slingshots. Those two can be mean, I think to myself. I don't like playing with them, really, but they live at the end of the street. And sometimes, you just play with the kids on your same street, even if they're mean. Sometimes, even to you. The first thing I notice is that he's totally in the small moment of his story. By that, I mean he's zooming in on the tiny details. The tiny details that would catch your attention, like missing fur, leaky eyes, skinny stick of a body. The author, since this is a true personal narrative, must have replayed this idea in his mind over and over and over to come up with how he should describe what this kitten looks like. So far, we have tiny details. Next, I'm noticing that the author has the main character talking to the kitten in his head. That's inner thinking. Awesome. Those are things that we should add to our story. Anywhere, but definitely the lead is going to be benefited by it. The reason that they're powerful is that they pull me in. They make me want to keep reading more. Inner thinking is like dialogue. And it wouldn't make sense, really, that he'd be talking to anyone right now because it's just him. And then he has to add in on top of that the part about David and Claude. We get the sense of what our character is going through in his life right now. That it's truly like a lonely moment for him. We understand the character, and we know so much about him just from this first scene. It's amazing. He's so lonely that he even would be looking for a little bit of love from this tiny little kitten that might die. And that brings us to the idea of what we want to put into our leads. We want to have precise detail. We need those because they're going to ring true for the reader and the narrator, which is going to be you in your story. They need to be really what you were feeling at the time. In addition, the inner thinking really helps us to understand our character, which is super important. If we as writers don't know what our character is like, and if the reader doesn't know what our character is like, then why should they care about our story? Right now on your assignment, you have a section called Techniques for Writing Memorable Leads. You should record those two things that I just said and that are on your screen right now. Techniques for writing memorable leads. And the first lead tip is that writers might include the smallest detail of the moment, the ones that ring true for the narrator. The second one is that writers might include inner thinking to hint at what the story is really about. Okay, writers, now's your time where you leave you with your teacher. They're going to make sure that you get to study some of this text on your own, and that you can share as a class together what you noticed and what you learned, because sometimes the best things that you could learn are not by listening to me. They're by listening to the people that are in your Zoom or are in your classroom or that are closest to you. So you're going to study this text now. You're going to read from where I left off, and you're going to notice if there's more things you should add to techniques for memorable leads. The section that you see in front of you. So I left off at even to you at the end of that first paragraph. The next 3 paragraphs is more than enough to find 2 more techniques you could use for making memorable leads. All right. I'll leave this screen up just for you to look at. If you need to pause the video, do that now. Okay, writers, we're at the end of our time together today. You learned 2 things from me about precise details that get us sucked into the world of the story. And when we use an inner thinking for our character, it helps create a believable character that we can connect to and that has meaning to us. And in doing so, we can actually kind of hint at the larger meaning of this story pretty easily right in our beginning. Then, you hopefully added some more to your Techniques for Memorable Leads page on your own or in groups. And now we are ready to try out a few leads for ourselves. So make sure that when you try a few leads, you mix it up. Maybe the first time you start your lead with a bit of dialogue. This might bring your characters to life real quickly for the reader, and that's exciting. However, maybe the second lead that you try out, you try it with some inner thinking to help make it really clear to the reader from the start what our story is really going to be about. Or maybe you try precise details or actions. Just like we saw in the story, Everything Will Be Okay. I know that any one of those strategies will work well for you as far as what is your first sentence. And don't forget all the other techniques for memorable leads in your assignment. Until next time, happy writing.